Hello and welcome to the Lost and Found. Today I'm not recording from my own bedroom because it's a bit of a mess right now. I'm actually packing for a last minute solo trip to Mexico and I leave tomorrow. I actually haven't even booked the flight, but it's happening and it inspired me to create this video today about solo traveling and traveling in general and how it can really build your self esteem, especially during a time where it's very low, and how I recommend it to almost absolutely everyone. My first solo trip was actually kind of unintentional. I had a trip planned to Europe in 2022 with a group of 6 of my best girlfriends. And the war in Ukraine broke out right before the trip, and all 6 of my girlfriends tapped out. And I still decided to go. And actually, one of my friends, one of my guy friends, was going to Europe as well, and another one of my girlfriends was going to be there. But my trip was still going to be by myself. Like, I flew by myself, I ate by myself, but I actually did stay at hostels with one of my friends. But it was my first kind of like solo trip. I'm doing this on my own. And my friend, he's kind of in his own world too. So he was solo traveling and I was solo traveling, but we were kind of together, if that makes sense. Some of the times there was overlap. And it was an unbelievable experience. I'll say the most memorable moments I have from the solo travel aspect, like how this really built my confidence. I guess there were a few ways, but one of the first things I think about is eating on my own. Going to a restaurant and just sitting there and being alone and ordering alone and saying, yes, it's just one person, just gonna be me, ordering your food and eating it by yourself. That's a huge part of solo travel. And it's maybe not, doesn't seem like the most glamorous part, but it's huge. Like, we spend so much of our time eating, and many times you will be picking out a restaurant with the people that you're traveling with. And that's my second point when it comes to solo traveling. When you are on your own and you don't have anybody to ask their opinion of what they want to do or where they want to eat or what they want to see, where they want to party, whatever it is. You don't have to ask any questions. You do what you want, you get what you want to eat, you sightsee where you want to sightsee, you stay where you want to stay. Like, everything is up to you. So it's an incredibly liberating experience. And it's also quite eye-opening and like heart-opening, and it shows you, who am I when I don't have to prove myself or compromise or anything. Like, who am I? And that's not to say that compromise isn't a beautiful thing and that traveling with friends isn't a beautiful thing. But also getting to know yourself without the whole like people pleasing aspect to life is quite life changing. It's something that expands your mind and brings you to yourself. It just really centers you and it gives you this self-confidence, because a lot of times the reason why I say if your self-concept is kind of like down in the dumps and you solo travel, it has the ability to just like align you and remind you, who am I? Without the clothes, without the friends, without the glamour. Who am I? What is my soul? Who can I connect with on my own? Where do I choose to eat? Where do I choose to go? What route do I take? Do I spend the entire time with this like anxiety because I'm alone? Or am I able to break through it? And I guess that will bring me to my third point, which is when you solo travel and everything is on you, you remember who you are and you shine in such a way that when situations and people meet you with grace and love, you know that it came from you. It's a reflection of you. So let's say you're on a solo travel trip and you check into a hostel And yes, in the beginning, you don't know anybody, so it's maybe a little bit difficult to just come up to people and start talking to them. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Eventually, though, you will make a connection. And when that connection is made, let's say it's somebody really incredible, you leave that situation or even in the moment acknowledging that that was all you. You made that connection because of you. It wasn't one of your friends. It wasn't anything. It was literally just you. And when you're coming from a place of low self-concept and maybe just not believing and trusting in yourself completely, maybe you're stuck in this kind of herd mentality. When you step out of your comfort zone and you travel alone and you meet people and places on your own and make these beautiful lifelong memories, you will keep that in your heart and know, I did that. I did that. On my last solo travel trip, or yes, I went to Colombia and it was a 10-day backpacking trip. I was in one of my worst, I was coming out of one of my worst moments in my entire life, my worst moment. And the plan was to visit one of my friends in Brazil. And last minute, she got dengue, the bone breaking mosquito disease. So she had to come back to the US and I couldn't visit her anymore in Brazil. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll cancel my trip or maybe I'll do a solo trip. Even though I've kind of lost all of this self concept and belief in myself, like maybe I can still do it. And my friend was the first one to tell me, the one that was in Brazil, she said, still go. Don't let my sickness keep you from an incredible experience. And so instead of going to Brazil, I decided, all right, I am going to go to a country that is a little bit smaller, a little bit less, what's the word? Intimidating, I guess, where I speak the language because I don't speak Portuguese, but I speak Spanish. So maybe I'll go to Colombia because I have family in Medellin, in Bogota. So why don't I just go to Colombia and I make a backpacking trip out of it on my own, but then I hit these spots like Medellin and Bogota and see my family. And so I did just that. I planned every single thing. I bought my big, like, 40-liter backpack and I shoved all of these things in for a 10-day solo backpacking trip through Colombia. Put on my little backpack. I booked the hostels, booked all of the flights. The plan was 2 days in Cartagena, then 2 or 3 days in Santa Marta, Tayrona, then 3 or 4 days in Medellin, and then 2 days in Bogota. That was like the trip. And yeah, I embarked on my journey. I started in Cartagena, and when I got there, I arrived to the hostel, and I remember just dropping my things off, immediately taking a nap because I was exhausted and I can do what I want, so if I'm tired, I don't have to please anybody else. I can just take a nap. So I took a nap, woke up around 4 p.m., knowing that there were certain hostel events later in that night, so I would be able to like meet people, but right now these hours were just fully for myself. So I said, okay, let's go and find some place to eat and walk around. So I did just that. I walked to this restaurant. I sat at a table. I was like, it's just me. There were people all around me who were in groups and they were laughing and they were joyful. It was just this very beautiful experience where you're so present and you are just soaking everything in, soaking in all of the beauty, all of the details. You're not distracted in any way. And one of the most magical, just like memories that I have from eating at this restaurant, my first meal of my Colombian trip, was the way that I ordered was so stress-free. And I'm the type of person who I I'm always balancing things. I'm like, do I want this? Do I want that? I can be quite indecisive at times. And so I I noticed that I was zero indecisive. Cero. O sea, completely just like, this is what I want to eat. This is the little appetizer I want. And I'm going to get myself this juice, which I I don't know. It's not, I don't always get myself a juice, but I noticed in that moment when I don't have the pressures of anybody else, I ordered a juice. And maybe it's like when I'm around people, perhaps they order a drink and then I feel pressure to order a drink, or I'm just thinking about what is this person thinking, and I'm self-conscious about money as well. But when I was eating by myself, it was like I didn't have a care in the world. It's like, girl, you don't have anybody to impress, to think about. Do whatever you want. Nobody cares. Just you. So I had this delicious meal, delicious appetizer, delicious juice, and I was just basking. So filled with joy, and I'm not looking at my phone, I'm just being present with every single bite. From there, I went back to the hostel and I got ready for the night event. It was like rooftop drinks. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to this rooftop drinks and I'm going to meet other people in the hostel who are solo or in friendly groups that want to meet people. That's exactly what I did. I went on this rooftop, I met some people. Then went to we went to a live show that night. We were drinking together, we were hanging out. We went into the little pool. Like, I made friends quite quickly from all these different places. We had people from Europe, people from other places in South America, and surprisingly, no Americans. Not as many Americans as you would guess. I guess there were some. Um, and then I something I did realize is it is so hot in Colombia. I mean, in Cartagena. And that was a thought that I'd been having since I arrived. Like, Cartagena, I went in May and it was unbelievably hot. It was so uncomfortable, and I'm from Miami. I can deal with the heat. But Cartagena, it was like the sun was beating down on me as if it were like 10 inches from my face. I was unwell. So I started thinking, like, damn, I really wish I could get out of here. I wish I didn't have to spend an extra day here. But I have my flight scheduled, so whatever, I guess I'll spend. It was like 2 more days I was supposed to spend there, something like that. And then as I'm sitting at this bar with these people I just met, there's this character who sits down next to me, and I start talking to them. I just bring up a conversation. In all honesty, I was smoking at the time, smoking tobacco, and he was rolling some up. So I asked, that's kind of how I introed the conversation. I was like, oh, do you think that I could get one from you, like snag one? And you obviously don't have to smoke in order to be able to talk to people. That's just kind of what I did in that moment. But you could literally, like, it's a solo traveler. He wants to be able to talk to people, and it's not like he's hidden away in some corner. No, he literally sat in the middle next to like this huge group of people, and he's rolling up a cigarette. So I'm like, this character wants to be talked to. So I talk to him, we start chatting. He tells me about, he's from Argentina, he just arrived that day, and that he had a bad experience, which I won't get into, that's his story. But he was like, I'm gonna leave tomorrow. I decided Cartagena's not for me, I'm leaving tomorrow. I told him, I said, dang, I really wish that I could leave tomorrow because it's just so hot here. I don't feel comfortable, and I would rather get to the beach as soon as possible, which was my next stop. And I said, if only I could go with you. And then he turned around. It was like out of a movie. We're sitting on a couch here facing this way. And when I said, I just wish there was a way for me to go with you, like go on this bus that you're taking to, I don't know. And he turns around and he points right behind us. And it's this poster that says, shuttle from Cartagena to Santa Marta, which is where the beach was that I was going to. And it was something like $20. It leaves every single day, 1 hour every single day. So he pointed at it and he's like, you can. And I looked at him and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I'm canceling my flight, or I'm not getting on my flight, and that's fine because it was like a $30 flight. I said, I'm leaving with you tomorrow. Nice to meet you. And to this day, I honestly can't remember what his name is, but we embark on this journey. The next day, we decide to see a little bit more of the city with this group. I introduced him to the group of friends I had made, but then the two of us, we embark on this journey on this bus to Santa Marta. And on this bus, there are so many different people from all different, I mean, mostly young people, which is what's really cool too about traveling young. Um, there's just like all of these really young people from all of these different places. And I ended up talking to these Germans. And we have like a 6 hour drive to Santa Marta. On this drive, I end up becoming friends with these German people. And we get to Santa Marta, we order an Uber together. And when we get there, I end up becoming closer with these Germans. And the next day, one of the Germans says, hey, we got an Airbnb. So we had actually booked the exact same hostel in Santa Marta. Like I said, I planned every single piece of this trip out. I already had my hostel booked. Again, these hostels are like $10 a night. So very affordable. And I wasn't too worried about like, okay, if anything in my plan changes, that's fine. But I have this whole plan out. It also made my family feel a lot more comfortable about me going on this solo trip. So I spend like the first day there getting closer with these people. We do a whole hiking trip. I get really close to these people. And one of the Germans says, hey, for the next 2 nights, me and my friend, we booked an Airbnb in the middle of the jungle up this mountain. And if you want to stay with us, you absolutely should. And I looked at him and I said, oh, that sounds wonderful. Like my heart really wants to go. He was showing me pictures. The view was going to be incredible. And I said, I don't know though, because, I came here with this friend and I don't really want to leave him behind, and he wasn't inviting the friend. And then he looked at me and he said, but you don't even know him. And it was like this just like crazy explosion in my brain where I don't have to please this character that I've literally never met in my entire life. This is my trip. I get to pivot whenever I want, however I want, do literally whatever I want. And so I said, you know what? You're so right. I get to pivot. I don't owe anybody anything. Like, I don't know. It's not that I don't owe anybody anything, but this random character that I met the day before, I don't owe him anything just because I felt almost like he was entitled to my friendship because he had gotten me on this bus, which had then introduced me to these other people that I got along better with. Like, no, this is life. Like, you, especially the life of a solo traveler, you get to make your own decisions. Do I think that this is like the way of life in all aspects? No, I think that compromise is extremely important, and staying with people and not only worrying about your own selfish, I don't even want to say selfish with the negative connotation, but like only ever doing what you want to do, I don't think that that's right. But we also live in a world where a lot of people, specifically women, but also men, I'm sure, I don't know, I'm a woman, so I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. We are these huge people pleasers, and we want to make everyone around us feel really good. And in that, we lose ourselves a lot of the time, and we don't end up doing the things that we want to do. And that's life, right? Many times that's life. But we also have these opportunities to choose ourselves and choose what we want to do. And this was one of those moments for me. So when he looked at me and he said, you don't owe him anything. You don't even know him. I was like, you're right. So I end up leaving. I get on the back of some guy's motorcycle, which was crazy. Like, moto taxis is what they call them. They're motorcycle taxis. Thank God I only had a backpack. If I had had a little carry-on, I wouldn't have been able to go on this moto taxi. But it was just a backpack, so this man holds it in front. I'm going on this motorcycle, having like a life-altering experience with my new German friends, one that I'm still quite close with. That's a whole long story, but it's like I was making core memories in life. And I was just basking in this gratitude that I was so free and I had gotten me here. Like, this beautiful memory that I was making was not was not from anyone else other than God and myself. It wasn't the friend, it wasn't the family, it wasn't, no. It's literally like God and myself got me here. And life is beautiful and I'm so happy. And yeah, so I ended up having the most incredible few days in this Airbnb in the middle of this forest. I was so, like, I can't tell you enough how beautiful of an experience that was. And if I had stayed where I was, I would not have seen this side of Colombia. I wouldn't have. And I wouldn't have made the memories with these friends that I ended up making. And so that entire story is just a reminder that going on the solo trip, I know that it can be very scary. And a lot of people have told me, like, not everyone can do that, and not everybody has that ability. And to that, I say, okay, no. Like, sure, but no. Yes, you can. You absolutely can, as long as you are willing to break through the discomfort of being seen alone and being seen and maybe feeling uncomfortable. You'll realize, like, people don't really care. Like, they don't care. They're not even thinking about you. They see you eating alone. Maybe they see you, but you think it's really registering in their brain that they're like, oh, that person's eating alone. That's so embarrassing. They probably don't have any friends. No, people actually aren't even that, like, mean. That's something I really realized in life. Like, most people are good people, and most people are caught up in their own things. Like, they're not conspiring against you. They don't want to make you feel bad. If anything, I remember this big table going back to my first day in Cartagena when I'm eating alone and I'm having this beautiful meal with my juice. There's this table to the right of me, which again, I wouldn't have noticed so many of the things in this restaurant, which are now so engraved in my memory, if I had been with even just one other person who my attention would have been on them. Because if I'm with you, I'm with you. So that's why it's so nice, like being the people pleaser, but also like the very loving person that I am. Like when I'm with you, I want to be with you. So when I'm not, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm here too, you know? And now I have this like more balance. Like I can be here and I can also be here with you, and it's fucking beautiful. So anyway, I'm sitting at this table by myself, and there's this huge group of people, maybe like 10 people, 12 people, and they're all laughing and they're having a great time. And maybe I'm making this up, but they were sending me smiles. Like I felt like they were sending me pure love and good energy. And maybe if I had even approached them, like, hey, do you mind if I sit with you guys? They would have pulled up a chair and been like, sit. Because they also looked like they were from all different places. Like maybe they had all met. Maybe they were there on some big, like, I don't know, some like friend trip, perhaps. But they looked so happy and loving and joyful, and they were sending me all of that good energy. And I was able to soak it up because I was present. I was present with my environment and everyone who was around me. And that's something that I think we miss so much in life. It's the people around us. How often do you smile at the person that you're walking by? I think that's kind of a lost art, you know? Like, I had this beautiful conversation with one of my friends at yoga the other day, and she said, as a child, and you can notice this in children still now, whenever they walk past another child, they look at them and they smile, or they just look at them like they're like, I'm here and you're here, and I acknowledge you. And as you grow up, that kind of becomes a little bit more unnatural. And she asked me what I thought, because she's older than me. So she's like, you're closer to that youthful, like that child age. So what do you think about that? And I said, I think as we grow older, our anxiety kind of goes up because we are scared about what the other person thinks. Whereas when you're a child, stuck in this you're less stuck in this idea that people are thinking so much about you. And it's more about projecting yourself and your light and your thoughts and your opinions, not, oh, how can I react in accordance to what that person's thinking? Or I did this and now what are they thinking? Or I can't look at you. I'm too shy to look you in the eyes and smile because what are you going to think? Maybe they're going to think that I'm actually making fun of them somehow, or I think I'm better than them. And this is so wild, and it's like really messing with my brain at least. And so one of the things that I think, one of the quotes that I just keep coming back to in life ever since I read it, it was always have a smile and a hug to give. And sure, maybe you don't want to hug every single person that you see in the street. Fair, right? I'm not saying hug every single person in the street. But that quote does kind of take me outside of myself, in that when you are sending a smile and you're sending this positive energy to someone, that has a ripple effect. Like when you're just like radiating joy and gratitude and love, it has a positive ripple effect. It does. Maybe even if the person that you smile to thinks to themselves, like, damn, I'm so sad and they're so happy. Why can't I be like them? That is like the mind and the ego, but your heart and that energy, it doesn't lie, and it will have a positive ripple effect on people. And when you solo travel, you're able to come back to that. You get like, you go into yourself and you feel that discomfort in order to expose yourself and break through it and realize nobody cares that much. These are my thoughts, and I'm not caring that much about these other people in a negative way, at least. Like, it feels positive, it feels fulfilling. I love to see other people's joy. So, yeah, you only have one life. And if you're so scared of looking into yourself and exposing yourself, ask yourself why. Why don't I want to go on that solo trip? A lot of people might say, well, I love to travel with my friends. Of course, so do I. Absolutely. And I also love to travel by myself. And so, this trip that I'm last minute planning, leaving tomorrow, I people definitely are going to feel almost like kind of how they did with my Colombia trip, where it's like, oh wow, like I can't believe you're going to do that. When in reality, it's not that crazy. We have one life, and we should be taking advantage of it and using our free will more often and stepping out of our comfort zone, exposing ourselves so that we can be comfortable with ourselves. We can love ourselves and in turn love others. You didn't come here to people please. You came here to live a pleasurable experience. So, yeah, I hope this video inspires you to take that solo trip, to just say, screw it, I have one life. This is where I want to go. Nobody seems to want to go with me. Go. Go. There's nothing holding you back. Okay. I am logging off now. This has been such a fun episode to record, and yeah. Bye. Love you guys.